Chapter 30. Narration of Woes and Other Stories. I bow down Sri Ganesh, I bow down Sri Saraswati, I bow down the Guru, I bow down the family dignity, I bow down Sri Sita Ramchandra, I bow down Sri Sadguru Sai Nath. Om, I bow down to Sai, the compassionate one, who loves his devotees, the abode of mercy. Your darshan releases devotees from the fear of this world by removing their difficulties. Initially, you were without form and attributes, but on account of the devotion of the devotees, you have been studded with attributes and incarnated as the crest jewel of the saints. O Sainath, to give liberation to the devotees is always the mission of the saints, but you are the Guru of all the saints. The mission is inevitable for you, therefore. Those that have taken refuge at your feet have all their sins destroyed. The good karmas merge to the surface to clear the path and make it free of fear and difficulties. Remembering your freed Brahmins come from well-known tirthas and recite the Gayatri mantra and read religious books. We who are weak and without any merits what do we know of devotion? Though others may leave us, Sai won't forsake us. Those who receive his grace become inconvincibly powerful, for they receive the treasure of self-bliss and discrimination together with knowledge. Eagerness to hear the words from Sai's lip made the devotees delirious. Each word became stamped upon their minds and they realized the truth contained in them. Sainath fully knows the desires of his devotees. He alone is capable of fulfilling them, which is why his devotees are grateful. O Sainath, I invoke your help and place my head at your feet. Forgetting all my faults, please free this servant of yours from all anxieties. If a devotee overcome by calamities prays to Sainath, thus his mind will be calmed, as he alone is the giver of peace. This Sai, the ocean of mercy, favored me. The result of it is in this auspicious book presented with respect to all readers. Otherwise, what qualification had I to undertake such an immense task? As he took all the responsibilities, I felt no burden. With Sai Samartha, the light of knowledge, to illumine my words and to destroy the darkness of ignorance, why should I have any doubts? My faith in that Lord, the cloud of mercy, did not make me feel that I was at all laboring. By his grace, I was enabled to achieve my desired objective. The service to the saint in the form of the book was on account of my good deeds and the passports which you have received well. O Lord, I am grateful to faith for this and feel blessed. In the last chapter, you heard how Sai, the cloud of mercy, gave different kinds of dream visions to teach his devotees. In the present chapter, listen to an interesting story for devotee of Saptashringi goddess, which is enjoyable. It is also a miracle how gods and goddesses entrust their devotees into the hands of saints. Listen with rapt attention. There are many stories about Maharaj, each more wonderful than the other. The story is also worth listening to. Pay attention and listen. It is not a story but a drink of pure nectar. You will be gratified by it. You will realize the greatness of Sai as well as his all-pervasiveness. Critics and logicians should not pursue this. There is no scope here for arguments. What is necessary is unlimited love. Not only should the person be learned, but he should be devoteful of faith, a believer, or in attendance upon God. A saint, others will take them to be fables. The wish-filling tree of Sai Leelas undoubtedly bears fruits and flowers. One who is fortunate devotee, he alone can reach out and pluck them. Listen then to this very purifying story, which is giver of salvation to the seekers, the best amongst all the means, and the beneficial to all. Such is the nectar-like drink of Sai stories, which easily helps in uplifting all creatures, including the ignorant. The worldly people will be satisfied, and who is a means for those desirous of attaining liberation. When I think of one, many more stories come to my mind. Therefore, Hemad humbly invites listeners to hear them. Thus, narrating one story after another will increase your enjoyment of the sweet Leelas. Those who are afflicted by the problems of the world will get relief. This is itself Sai's greatness. In the village Vani of Nasik district, there lived a man called Kakaji Vaidya, who was the pujari of the Devi's temple there. The Devi was known as Saptashringi. The pujari was in disturbed state of mind due to insurmountable difficulties and was harassed by the worldly life. When the cycle of time takes a bad turn, the mind spins in turmoil like a top and the body runs helter-skelter. There is no peace at all. In this manner, Kakaji was very miserable, so he went to the temple and prayed fervently to the goddess to relieve him of his anxiety. He prayed wholeheartedly, whereby the Devi was moved by his feelings. That same night, he got a vision. Listeners should hear about his miraculous nature. The Devi Mother Saptashangi appeared in Kakaji's dream and said, "You go to Baba, your mind will be at peace." He hoped that the Devi would clarify who and where this Baba was. Kaka was in this eager state of mind when his eyes opened. The questions in his mind remained unanswered as the vision immediately ended. Kakaji tried to guess the identity of Baba of whom she spoke. Kakaji decided that it must be Baba Trambakeshwar certainly. So he immediately left and took darshan, but his mind remained disturbed. Kakaji stayed in Trambakeshwar for 10 days, but till the end he remained downcast and depressed. The rejection did not leave him. His mind remained wavering. Day by day his agitation increased, so Kakaji started on his return journey. When he was there, he bathed early in the morning, chanted the Rudra hymns, did the Abhishekam, pouring fresh cold water unceasingly over the Pinda Shivalinga, but he was restless as before. Going again to the Devi's temple, he said, "Why did you send me to Trambakeshwar? At least now give me peace of mind. Enough of this fruitless running around." In this manner, he implored the Devi and prayed to her. The Devi gave him darshan at night and told him in his dream, "The Baba I spoke of is Shri Sai Samartha. I do not understand why you went to Trambakeshwar unnecessarily. Where is Shirdi and how do I go there? I do not know this Baba. Now, how can this trip be undertaken? I am at loss as to how all this will happen," he thought. But he who is devotedly attached to a saint's feet and who has the purpose of darshan in his mind, then the saint and even God fulfills his desire. The saint and God are one. There is absolutely no difference between them. To believe perchance that they are two is duality. Saints are one with God. If anybody thinks that he will go and see a saint and fulfill his desire, it will be a mere boast. The saint's ways are incomprehensible. Unless the saints will it, who can go and take their darshan? Even the leaf of a tree cannot move without their bidding. The more anxious a devotee is for the darshan, the more devout and faithful he is. The greater is the experience of heavenly bliss attained by the best of devotees. While Kakaji worried about how he would go for Sai darshan, a guest arrived from Shirdi searching for his whereabouts. And was the guest some ordinary person? He was liked by Baba better than the others. None was comparable to him in Baba's love, and he was fortunate enough to deserve it. He was called Madhav Rao and held the hereditary office of Deshpande. Baba spoiled him and nobody could get around Baba as he could. They always indulged in loving disputes and addressed each other in familiar terms. Baba loved him exceptionally, like his own son. He came at that time to Vani. Once when he was a child and fell ill, his mother prayed to the Devi and said, "I'll leave this child to your mercy and save or kill. But should he recover, I will bring him for your darshan." The child recovered after the Devi had been invoked. Whether it be a doctor or dinty, after the problem is over, they are forgotten. In adversity, one remembers to make an invocation and a woe, which, when unfulfilled, becomes a reason for fear. Several years passed and the woe was completely forgotten. The mother recalled it in her last moments and requested Madhav Rao. "This woe was taken a long time ago. It has not been fulfilled till this time. It is not good to have such a long delay. Go for the Devi's darshan." Also, when the mother had ringworms on her breast and had unbearable pain, she had taken another vow to the Devi. "Mother, I will come rolling in prostration to you if you relieve me from this misery. I shall offer you a replica of 2 silver breasts." That vow had remained unfulfilled too, being postponed from time to time. She remembered both of them at the approach of her death. She recalled to Babya about this matter and took promise from him that he would fulfill them. The mother, then becoming desireless, merged eternally at the Lord's feet. Later on, Madhav Rao kept on procrastinating and years rolled by. He forgot all about it, and also the vow remained unfulfilled. In this manner, after 30 years, see what happened in Shirdi. An astrologer came there while travelling. He had a deep understanding of astrology and was able to read the past, the future, and the present. He satisfied the curiosity of many and was highly praised and continued to stay there for a while. He pleased Srimad Keshav Rao Bhuti and others with his predictions and gratified everyone in no time. When Babaji, the younger brother of Madhurao, asked about his future, the astrologer told him that the goddess was displeased with him. He said your mother had taken vows which she had asked your elder brother to fulfill at the time of her death. Not having fulfilled them till now, the goddess is greatly troubling you. Babaji told everything to Madhav Rao when he came home. Madhav Rao realized his mistake. He called a goldsmith and had a replica made of 2 silver breasts and took them to the masjid. After prostrating at the feet of Baba, he placed the breasts before him and said to him, "Please accept these and free me from that woe. You are our Saptashangi, you are our goddess. Please accept this as promised and be satisfied." Baba replied, "Go to the temple of Saptashangi and offer to her what was promised to her by your own hands, placing those ornamental breasts at her feet." When Baba insisted thus, Madhav Rao also felt the same way. He left the house determined to take darshan. He took Baba's darshan and requested for his blessings. Taking Udi and Prasad, he took permission and left. He came to the temple of Saptashangi and began to search for the family priest. Luckily, he was taken to Kakaji's house and met him without any efforts. Kakaji was desiring to meet Baba as soon as possible, and just then he met Madhav Rao. Was this an ordinary coincidence? When making preliminary inquiries about the whereabouts of Madhav Rao, when he learnt that he had come from Shirdi, his joy knew no bounds, and they embraced one another. They were both pleased at the turn of events and praised Sai's Leelas. After the rituals for the vows were completed, the priest left for Shirdi. The priest was filled with joy to have the companionship of a person like Madhav Rao, which he got unexpectedly. He thought only of his trip to Shirdi. As soon as the vows were fulfilled, they both arrived quickly at Shirdi. No sooner than they had arrived, they left for Sai's darshan with lots of love and eagerness. The intensity of emotion increases the pace of a traveller. Kakaji arrived at the banks of the Godavari from where Shirdi was close by. The priest bowed at Baba's feet and washed them with his tears. Being filled with happiness at the darshan, he was at peace. This was the purpose of the vision of the goddess. When he saw Baba Samartha with his own eyes, Kakaji was truly happy and his wish was fulfilled. So be it. Kakaji was filled with joy. After the darshan, his mind was at peace. He really became free of all worries as a cloud of mercy had rained. The fickleness of his mind disappeared. He was himself surprised. He wondered how strange this was. Baba had not said a word, nor had he asked any question leading to this satisfaction, nor had he given any blessing. The mere darshan had brought about contentment. My fickle-mindedness has subsided by mere darshan. I attained incredible happiness and perfect understanding. This is called the greatness of darshan. His eyes were reverted to Sai's feet, and he could not utter a word. Listening to Baba's stories, his happiness could not be contained. The priest surrendered to the Samartha with his full faith and attained his happiness. He forgot his earlier problems. Kakaji stayed for 12 days at Shirdi. His mind settled, and then he returned to Saptachangi. The time when one sees a dream has relevance. It is believed that only dreams that are seen at dawn or early morning come true. Others are ineffectual. This is well known, but the dreams regarding Shirdi, whether they occurred at whatever time, were fulfilled. This was the invariable experience of the devotees. I will present a short story illustrating this statement to the listeners. They will find it a great marvel and will give them increased enjoyment in listening. One afternoon, Baba told Dikshit, "Take a tanga, go to Rahata and bring Kushal Bhau along with you. Tell him that it has been a long time since I met him, so I have a desire to meet him. Tell him that Baba is calling you to meet him." Respectfully obeying the orders, Dikshit took the tanga and went. Kushal Bhau met him immediately, and Dikshit told him the purpose of his visit. Hearing Baba's message, Kushal Bhau was greatly surprised. He said, "I have just woken up from a nap, and in my sleep I got the same orders. Just now I had laid down to rest after lunch. No sooner than my eyes closed that Baba said the same thing to me in my sleep. He said, 'Come to Shirdi right now.' I also had a strong desire, but what could I do? There was no horses. I sent my son to inform Baba about it. The boy must have hardly gone beyond the village border, and now here is your tanga," Dikshit jokingly said. That is why I was instructed to come. So, if you like to come, the tanga is ready and waiting. Then he left for Shirdi with Dikshit very happily. The result was Kushal Bhau met Baba, and Baba's wish was fulfilled. Kushal Bhau was also deeply moved by this Leela of Baba. Once Baba appeared in a dream of a Punjabi Brahmin whose name was Ramalal and was a resident of Bombay. The sky, the wind, the sun, the rain, and the deities, due to their power of their grace, whatever knowledge one has of outward and inward object, that is known as the waking state. When all the senses are at rest, arises the awakening of the subliminal impressions of the waking condition. This states the form of cognition and the person who cognizes. This is the indication of the dream state. His dream was strange. He did not know Baba's former attributes. He had never had darshan earlier. Come to me, he said. From his appearance, the person looked like a great saint, but who was he and from where? When Ramlal awoke, he was deep in thoughts. He felt like going, but he did not have an address or his whereabouts. But he who calls for darshan, he alone knows to make the arrangements. And that same afternoon, as he was casually walking along the roadside, he saw a picture in a shop which startled him. The form that he saw in his dream, and it was exactly the same as this, felt Ramlal. He immediately made inquiries of the shopkeeper. He closely looked at the picture. Who is he and from where? He learned that it was Sai from Shirdi. Ramlal was satisfied. Later, he came to know the full details. Ramlal went to Shirdi and stayed near Baba till his Mahasamadhi. This was Baba's wish to fulfill the desires of his devotees by bringing them for darshan and letting them achieve their worldly or spiritual objectives. As it is, all his devotees fulfilled. He himself was desireless, unselfish, without ego, and without any attachment. His avatar was only to fulfill the desires of his devotees. Know him to be a true saint who is untouched by anger and has no place for hatred, nor does he have even a glance for the selfish or selfless love for all his, whose selfless love is for all his mission, and who does not waste even a word or matters other than righteousness. In conclusion, Baba has got his life story written by holding my hand so that the devotees remain continuously engrossed in remembering him. This is its purpose. Therefore, Hemad very humbly always requests the listeners to hear the Sai Satcharitra with faith and devotion. You will attain peace thereby, and it will help in getting rid of evil habits. Devotion at Sai's feet will be strengthened and will give salvation. So be it. The next chapter will be narrated the story of the sannyasi Vijayanand, who instead of going to Mansarovar attained liberation at Sai's feet. Also, the devotee Mankar Balakram got his eternal rest, and Nulkar and Megha's desires were fulfilled completely by Sainath. Even a creature as cruel as a tiger was also given a place at his feet. Such were the incredible deeds of Sai. Listening to them is like celebrating a great festival. May there be well-being. This is the end of the 38th chapter of Shri Sai Samartha Satcharitra, written by the devotee Hemad Pant and plied by the saint and virtuous people, called Narration of Woes and Other Stories. This is offered to Shri Sadguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness.